How do you tell a wife something like that? That it isn't vital to produce a child in your marriage? I certainly wouldn't love her any the less if we couldn't have one.
Yeah, but you've already got a son.
Yeah, exactly. You see, an Adam could not be any more my son if I were the biological parent. But Nicole seems to think that I want a toddler of my own running around the place. Well, speaking of that, better do some toddling of my own. Nicole should be through in a few minutes. Thank you very much for the coffee, for letting me spend the time of day with you, or night with you.
Ah, what are you talking about? It's my pleasure. You know I don't do much socializing after hours.
Yeah, well, that's your fault.
I know.
You know what, you ought to make a late New Year's resolution. Stop spending so much time in this office or in the TCR room or wherever it is you spend those 16-hour days of yours.
I'll do that.
Oh, heck you will. Probably just go on doing exactly as you please and get crabbier and crabbier with every passing day.
My officers wouldn't think that's even possible. They think I've already reached the apex of crabbiness.
Yeah, well, a good woman would take care of that, even a bad one.
Well, I've already had an experience with the bad one. Which reminds me, how is Monticello's newest fun couple? Mallory.
Chief, it's Stoner. Now, something's come in I think you ought to know about. It's a homicide and housebreaking all in the same place.
Why would I want to know about it?
Because the place is the Whitney Mansion.
What?
It just came in. There's one person dead, one person injured. The ambulance is on the way.
Who's dead?
Well, the dead man is the would-be burglar, tentatively identified as Albert Slade, a.k.a. Romeo.
Who's wounded?
Well, Mrs. Geraldine Saxon received a head injury. The severity of it is not yet determined.
All right, what about Raven? Was she there?
Oh, Raven's there, all right, but she's fine. That woman could walk through an avalanche and come out unscratched.
All right, you handling this personally?
Well, Coleman took the squeal, but I'm sure he'd be willing to switch off.
Good, I want you on this. Meet me down the garage in 5 minutes. I'm going out there with you. There's been trouble at the Whitney Mansion.
Yeah, I heard you mention Raven.
Raven's all right. Geraldine Saxon was injured.
Oh, my God, what happened to her?
I don't know. Obviously, she got in the way of a burglar or somebody. The burglar's dead.
I'm coming with you.
I thought you had to meet Nicole.
I'll call her from there.
All right, come on.
How bad is it? Was she unconscious when you got here?
Out like a light, Doc. But she's alive. We'll get her into X-ray to find out what's what.
We got a neurologist standing by?
Dr. Peterson's been notified.
Good, that's who I was going to call.
No secondary injuries as far as we could tell, just that knock on her head.
It might be enough.
Yeah, well, I'll call Peterson myself in an hour. Tell him this is a very special case. Go on, get out of here.
Let's go, Sam.
He's hitting the midsection.
Yeah, what, shotgun?
Looks like it, both barrels.
I think we better bag the hands and feet just to make sure.
Hello, Chief. Dr. Kaplan. Strange, isn't it? A couple of weeks ago, we're having a wedding party here. Now this.
It's, Romeo Slade, all right, Chief. Here's the ID he was carrying.
Okay, Mr. Whitney, do you know Calvin Stoner?
And we've met.
He's in charge of this case. He'll be your police contact.
Gentlemen, well, I'm wondering if it'd be possible to spare my wife any questions this evening. She's had rather a bad time.
You look a little pale yourself, Mr. Whitney.
Yeah, well, it's been a kind of rough experience for all of us. I suppose you know I'm the one that did that.
This is your shotgun?
Yeah. And when we moved in here, I didn't like the idea of keeping a gun in the house, so leaving it in the garage.
Mr. Whitney, we understand you've been out of town. You and your servant, Gunther Wagner.
Yes, where is Gunther?
As far as I know, he's still in Chicago. That's where I left him a couple hours ago.
Isn't that a little odd for you to return and leave your employee behind?
Well, I mean, come to think of it, he may be on a commercial jetliner coming back here now. You see, I decided to come back. I chartered a plane, and it was a nice little jet, but it was a two-seater.
Sounds like you were very anxious to get back.
Yes, I was. See, I had a telephone conversation with my wife, Raven. And she sounded very upset and frightened at being alone in the house, and I began feeling guilty about leaving her, and I'm not ashamed to say, very lonely. We've only been married a few weeks, you know.
Yes, we know.
And so I realized that it was a stupid idea to plan a business trip so soon after a honeymoon, and I felt guilty after having spoken with her and decided to come back.
What made you go into the garage for the gun? What gave you the impression that something was wrong in the house?
If I said that I had a feeling, Detective, would that sound stupid?
No.
Well, I was coming up the driveway, and about halfway up, I noticed there was a reflection in the woods, and it wasn't right. It didn't belong there, and I stopped and I investigated, and there was a car half hidden in the trees. And then by the time I got up to the front of the house, there was another car here in front of
Geraldine's car.
Yeah.
The other one must have been Romeo Slade's then.
So instead of coming into the house, I stopped at the garage. I got the gun. I just had a feeling that something was wrong. And I got to the front door and I pushed it open. And there was a man holding a gun on my wife. That man. And he turned around and I didn't even think about my next actions. I just pulled both triggers. Look, gentlemen, if it's at all possible, I'd like to spare my wife any questions this evening. Can we do that?
I think we can wait until morning. Of course, we're going to have to talk to you again at some greater length, get a statement out of you. To realize, of course, this is not just simple breaking and entering. This is a homicide. You know, situations like this, they usually call it justifiable, but...
I've just killed a man. I've just taken another man's life. I never thought I'd ever do that.
You apparently saved someone else's life. Isn't a better thing to know that?